dementia can continue to live safely in the community and access the services that they need without being placed into homes. Can I please ask seniors together in Rosendale to come forward, please? Thank you.
Thanks everyone. I'm like everybody else, quite emotional at the minute. As Dorothy said, I'm Barbara Ashworth and I'm the chair of Seniors Together. This is Ant. Genuinely is called Ant. He's a comedian and I'm the straight one. So what I'm going to do is go through the project we had, which was called Memory Box. I got the idea for it really through having gone to one of Anthony's sessions. The group that Anthony runs is called Everyday People, and Jackie is part of it too, filming there in the background. It was one of our members, who's actually 89 years old, who comes to our stir meetings every month, who told me I should come and have a look at these sessions, where he lived in the sheltered housing unit, just to see the effect that it had on the residents there. So I went along to the last of 10 sessions, I think it was, and I was quite blown away really by the impact that this was having on people, just bringing along things to stimulate conversation, the things that we've got on our table over there. You'll see the sorts of items that we brought that then led to a few quizzes and listening to some more music. And a comment from the resident warden as well as to how the actual relationship between the members of that scheme had improved so much, because they were actually coming out of the rooms and talking to one another and enjoying a little bit of a different afternoon. It's a fallacy to think that just because people are in sheltered housing with a nice communal lounge that actually is the answer to anything, because it isn't, because they've still got to be encouraged to come out and do things and actually be stimulated really. So as a result of that, I put in a bid for this CCG grant, but working with Anthony, we were looking at it on two different levels. Yes, sheltered housing, people living, if you like, in their own environment, but we also wanted to look at a more complex environment in a care home. So we were looking at taking the project to a residential situation where people were living with dementia, so we could get sort of comparison and work two different ways. So it wasn't just about looking at old artefacts and so on. It's called Memory Box for a reason, because everybody has produced a box of their memories, working in conjunction with what Anthony and Jackie have been doing. Jackie's the artistic one, and some people needed a little bit more help, if you like, to make the boxes than others. But we started off in the sheltered housing. This is one of the ladies, Dorothy, who took part. We have had permission from everybody, by the way, to put their pictures and names up, so we're not breaching any confidentiality. This is a timeline that we did, which is Dorothy's, not just dates that you might think would be on anybody's timeline. This is actually really important events in her life, printed out and rolled up in a scroll and kept in a box. So that is about things that you can't really see all of them there. Things like when her children were born, or things like that. Memories. Most of the people in the first scheme we did, Underbag, most of them, I would say, didn't have any signs of dementia. Some did. But the idea of these boxes is that the memories are there ready, just in case, and can be added to by families and so on as time goes on. So this lady had, this is me, which we've done as well, looking at a sort of a version of what the Alzheimer's Society put out to use. This is her own recollection of likes and dislikes. So what we've got her memories, we've got things that are recorded so that if she does have to go and live anywhere else, these go with her. So her personality, her likes and dislikes, whether she remembers or not. She likes chicken, cardigans, skirts and sherry. So that's her personality. So the staff working with someone like that, you know a little bit about her, and that stimulates the conversation and so on. Okay, so we're moving on to... You you want to take over? Because Anthony wants to talk about how he actually designed the project, how he actually made it work.
Hi, so I'm Anthony. I represent a small organisation based in North Manchester. We were commissioned, again, by Stu and by Barbara. And as an organisation, we primarily do reminiscence work. We found from about 20 years experience working in the community, actually as a youth and community workers, that reminiscence is a fantastic tool to work with adults. For one, it's about bringing about, getting people talking as a group, in settings, in community groups, shelter schemes and residential care homes. Often people don't talk to each other. Often people have little cliques. Often people don't feel they can share things. And quite often the wardens in those schemes haven't got enough time or the expertise or competence to be able to lead group activities because they're now managing 2 and 3 and 4 shelter schemes. And the staff within the residential care homes, if you're lucky enough to have an activities coordinator, which some haven't, they'll be isolated. And the other staff and the management might not know or value or understand this kind of work because it's a very subtle kind of work. Because we were talking about what you raised before, developing human relationships, developing trust, developing compassion, allowing people to share stories. Everybody's got a story, and unfortunately, illness comes about and disease really when people forget their stories and almost in a state of forgetfulness, amnesia, dementia, apathy, isolation. So our projects are designed to stimulate. We use quizzes, we use the memory boxes, a fantastic tool because they encourage people to evaluate their lives in a safe space so they can actually go back and realise, hang on a minute, you know, I've done quite a lot, you know, I can feel proud of myself. Sometimes great things come up, it's all going to be fun. Sometimes not so great things come up where there may be a memory which isn't nice. When we found that in this project, what we've realised is that other people in that group have shown them compassion and support, which is quite touching, and it builds that group resilience up so much that when we go, they can move forward. You know, and so it's a fantastic thing to witness and to see. Now, again, Barbara's mentioned there are 2 aspects of this work. The shelter scheme, where you work with people who aren't so acute with problems. So we do that kind of work, including movies and getting dressing up boxes and quizzes, and we even bring a cake in, you know, my wife makes, so we can sit down and have a cup of tea. That's how things get done. And then the more acute work is in the residential care home, and this is an example of some of the artwork that we did with some of the people in the residential care home. We've got severe difficulties in different ranges. Some of them, it's like working with toddlers, you know, where you'll cut out a little flower and put their picture in, and that'll go up. Some of them are more advanced, like this gentleman here, who did a really brilliant drawing of Blackpool Tower, and we talked about when people used to go away, you know, to Blackpool. This is another piece of work that we did at the care home, which is a memory tree. So we took photographs and we've actually built in the actual main room a tree with all the different pictures of people, and that tree is still there now and will continue to grow from the photographs of the work and the interaction that we've actually achieved through the project. You can see there, you can see it in full bloom there. Here's Jackie. Paula on the left here is the activities coordinator who's done a fantastic job, and one of the great outcomes of this project is that we've developed a working partnership with Paula, and we've been able to identify that she's isolated as a professional, and that the other staff in that setting have suddenly realised that this way of working actually they really value because they've experienced it. And we're sort of bouncing ideas off each other about ways of stimulating people with dementia and people who are isolated or even chair-bound. And we've also got Janet, who's a volunteer from the local community, to come and get involved. One of the most powerful tools that we found is music and dance and movement, which generally involves me making a fool out of myself, but it does tend to work. Getting people up. This doesn't happen straight away, it takes time. We've developed a series of different musical activities, and this is an example. So, through musicals, might be nursery rhymes, and bringing that music to life, you know, with your own enthusiasm, your energy, and engaging with people can actually have a really big, significant impact on their emotional and mental well-being. Again, we've been able to facilitate and be part of group members actually showing compassion to one another in this care home, which is really important because, you know, there's lots of staff, but they're all very busy doing other activities, really. This is a photo collage that we've done, which is an A-note book, which will stand in testimony. I'm just getting on to the evaluation side now, because as I've mentioned, this kind of work is still in its early days. It's this form of social prescribing using Reminiscence. And we really think it's important that we share the outcomes of what we do, that we get this to, obviously, people on the CCG panel, that we get this out also to other professionals and community members, and also people's family members. If we can get the information about how to use these activities as triggers for them, to be able to unlock memories and experiences, to bring them to life, and that's really important. And we actually had a few issues with the evaluate, a few small issues with the web webs, is it? Some of, obviously, with the people we can communicate directly with in the sheltered schemes who aren't as far on, they can evaluate themselves, but with people who have with advanced dementia, that's impossible. But we've used a bit of that, we've melded it with this evaluation toolkit here, asking some basic questions that enables us to identify some of the things that markers of how people feel better and how they've moved on through the project. This is a mood measure that we had at the 2 sheltered schemes, which we took at the end of the project. Green is how they felt before, and then red is an increase in their mood and feelings afterwards. And 78% of it have indicated those people have taken part, and we've hit about maybe 35, 38 people in those shelter schemes that as a result of this project, they've moved on in their overall emotional and mental well-being. Some of the indicators are cheered me up, felt better after each session. I was able to share my experience with others, been able to learn new things and improve my knowledge, increased confidence, felt happier and healthier, made me feel less isolated, which we know from today's talk is one of the biggest things which marks up with obesity and smoking. Got to know each other better, met new people and given me the opportunity to get out of the house or flat, which many people struggle to do and are stuck in a rut. And then this is something that we did with the staff. I think there were 16 staff in the care home that witnessed and got involved with what we did. There were cleaners, kitchen staff, physical carers who'd never seen this before, and we asked them, do you feel that introducing Reminiscence sessions has helped improve your organisational service? 14 of the 16 said yes. One said no, one was not sure. And then all 16 said they felt that has supporting the project led you to think differently about the services you offer your residents. So we're starting to make people question what it means to provide a service to elderly people and make that service more holistic, so, which I think is very powerful. And I think that's more or less it, really. It's been a wonderful project. I thank you for giving us an opportunity to come today. The actual memory boxes that we've produced are over there, right at the end. We've got a stand over there with some of the timelines and some of the personal stories of people who've taken part in some of the photographs. So feel free at the end to come and say hello to us, and thank you for today anyway.